Hello everyone. In this second video of this chapter work, energy and power, we will have the next topic which is need to show that the total mechanical energy remains conserved, and we will take the case of freely falling body here. The mechanical energy remains conserved in a freely falling body. Okay, so and we can take before going for the next class for the next topic. I think I need to memorize. I need to give you a reminder that what we did in the last video. In the last class, we did that work done by a constant force, variable force, kinetic energy, work energy theorem for a constant and variable force, power, notion of potential energy of a spring, conservative force, non-conservative force. So here we are going to show that for a freely falling object, the total mechanical energy remains conserved. You can see that I have taken up object of mass small m, which is initially at rest, that is, it is being dropped from a height h. At the point A, u is 0. After dropping the object, suppose at the point B, the distance that it covered from the topmost point is x. The height of this point from the bottom will be h minus x. Here the speed, suppose here the speed is vb. It will not be 0, no, it will be vb. And here at this point, suppose the speed is vc. We need to show that at least in these 3 points, the energy is being conserved, the energy is being same. So first we will find the total energy at A. Total energy at A will be kinetic energy plus potential energy. As the speed is 0 here, the kinetic energy will be 0 and the potential energy will be mgh. When we find the potential energy, at that time we take the height from the floor, from the bottom. Then at B, to find the energy at B, again we need kinetic energy and potential energy. To find the kinetic energy, we need velocity, that we will find first. So if we are finding the velocity at this point, we will use the formula v square minus u square equal to 2as. It will be vv square minus 0 square. 2 at the place of A will be g, in the place of s, how much distance it has covered? It has covered x, so we write here x. So it will be vv square equals to 2gx. So kinetic energy plus potential energy will be half mvv square plus mg, height of the point B from the bottom, which is how much? H minus x. So we are after putting all these values, we will get the result as mgh. Then we will find the energy at C. It will be v square minus u square 2as again. So velocity will be vc square at that point, and which will be u is 0 here. So u is 0 here, so vc square will be 2gh. Again we will find the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, which is half m vc square plus mgh. Now you can see C is the bottommost point, the height of which is 0, so it will be potential energy will be 0 here, and all the energies will be kinetic energy only. After putting all these value and cancelling 2, we will get the result as mgh, which is the total mechanical energy. So we saw here that either we find the total energy at A, at B, which is a midpoint, at C, which is the bottommost point, the energy is being same, which is mgh. So we can say that yes, the total mechanical energy is being conserved in a freely falling body. Now the next topic that we have is motion in a vertical circle. So what can be the question first for this type of questions? What can be the question? For this type of topic, what can be the questions? That it is okay, sir, it is the case of motion in a vertical circle, but what can be the type of question here? Suppose the question is that a body tied to one end of a string is made to revolve in a vertical circle. Okay, derive the expression for the velocity of the body and tension in the string at any point. Hence find the tension at the bottom and top of the circle, minimum velocity at the lowest point so that it is just able to loop the loop, and the minimum velocity at the top. So first we are going to find we will understand the mechanism. Consider a body of mass small m. There is a body here tied to the one end of the string and rotating in a vertical circle of radius small r as shown in the figure. After that, we need to find the velocity at any point. Suppose the body passes through the lowest point L with velocity u and through any point P with velocity v. In moving from L to P, it has moved up through a vertical height which is ln, which is equals to small h. According to the law of conservation of energy, the total energy at this point must be equal to total energy at this point. That is what I am writing here. Total energy at L is equals to total energy at P. Kinetic plus potential energy at L equals to kinetic plus potential energy at P. Kinetic energy at L will be half mu square, but here at the height is 0 because it is the lowest bottommost point, so the potential energy will be 0. At this point, the kinetic energy, suppose it is half mv square, and height is here h, suppose the potential energy is mgh. So we can take m common from here, we'll cut, then after solving all this, we'll get the result, the v as under root u square minus 2gh, which is the expression for the velocity at any point. Now we need to find the tension along the string at any point. Suppose at this point, this is mg here, mg is acting vertically downward. The forces acting on the body at the point P are which forces? The forces, weight mg, it is acting vertically downward, and tension in the spring, okay? So you can see here, this mg is acting vertically downward, and if it is making theta angle here, it will be mg cos theta, and this will be mg sin theta according to the resolution of vector. The component mg cos theta of the weight along the string acts opposite to the tension T, so that the net centripetal force will be about how much? T minus mg cos theta, which is equals to mb square by r, because we know the formula for the centripetal force is mb square by r. So from here T will be equals to mg cos theta plus mb square by r. But theta was not given in the previously in the question, so we need to remove cos theta from here. So to remove cos theta, we will take this triangle, find cos theta. Cos theta will be base by hypotenuse. Base is r minus h and hypotenuse is the radius r. Put this value here, T equals to mg cos theta r minus h by r. M by r will be m r by r only. At the place of v square, we can put under root a square minus u square minus 2gh. So it will be v square will be u square minus 2gh. So T will, if we take m by r common from both, then T will be equals to m by r into ur plus gr minus 3gh, which is the notation or the formula for the tension along the string at any point. Now the next question is that after this, find the tension at the bottom and the top of the circle. So the tension at the bottom, if we take, we know, if we find, this is the general formula of the tension. At the bottom the height will be 0. If we put height 0 here, the tension will become m by r u square plus gr. At the top, height will become equal to the diameter of the circle, which will be 2r. We put here, it will be m by r u square minus 5gr. So this is the tension at the bottom and the tension at the top. After that, minimum velocity at the lowest point, so that it is just able to loop the loop. The meaning of loop the loop is to that it should complete the loop comfortably. So if it is completing the loop comfortably, then the tension at the highest point must be greater than equal to 0, the net tension. So tension at the highest point is the formula. If you put this formula here, then u will be equals greater than equal to under root 5gr. Minimum velocity should be under root 5gr, so that it will be just able to loop the loop. What will be the minimum velocity at the top? Similarly, we can find the minimum velocity at the top from here, from this point formula, and it will be under root gr. So these are the conditions for tension at the bottom and the top of the point of the circle, minimum velocity at the lowest point, so that it is just able to loop the loop. Okay, so this is also done. Now the next and the last topic of this chapter is collision, elastic and inelastic collision in one and two dimension. If we talk about the collision term, so first, what is a collision? The striking of two bodies is known as collision. This is very simple, but we need to understand each and every portion of this topic collision. A collision is said to occur between two bodies if they physically collide against each other or if the path of one is affected by the force exerted by the other. The elastic collision can be of many types. There are basically two types of collision that we need to study: elastic and inelastic. Elastic collision is that collision if there is no loss of kinetic energy and total momentum remains conserved. Inelastic collision is that collision if there is a loss of kinetic energy during a collision. Momentum will remain conserved for sure. And what is perfectly inelastic collision? If two bodies stick to each other after the collision and move as a single body with a common velocity, then the collision is said to be perfectly inelastic collision. Okay? So the first thing, the first question that we have in this chapter, in this topic is that prove that in an elastic one-dimension collision between two bodies, the relative velocity of approach is equals to relative velocity of separation after collision. Hence, derive expression for the velocity of two bodies in terms of the initial velocity before collision. Discuss the special cases also. This we will study. After that, we will study perfectly elastic collision in two dimension, coefficient of restitution. Fine, finish. So first we will study about elastic. So you can see two bodies are here, M1 and M2, moving with U1 and U2. Suppose U1 is greater than U2, so the relative velocity of approach will be U1 minus U2. After collision, masses will remain same. Velocity, suppose V1 and V2. Suppose V2 is greater than V1, the relative velocity of separation will be V2 minus V1. According to law of conservation of momentum, M1 U1 plus M2 U2 must be equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2, because total momentum before collision must remain constant, must remain equal to total momentum after collision. So from here we will take one equation. We will take all 1 to one side, all 2 to one side. Similarly, and this is elastic collision, so we are applying here kinetic energy theorem also. Half M1 U1 square plus half M2 U2 square equals to half M1 V1 square plus half M2 V2 square. Total kinetic energy before collision equals to total kinetic energy after collision. Again we will take all 1 to one side, all 2 to one side. Question number 2, we will divide equation 2 by equation 1, and what we will get? U1 minus U2 equals to V2 minus V1. So we have proved that in a perfectly elastic collision, the relative velocity of separation remains equal to relative velocity of approach. Okay? After that, by using there are many formulas. By using that, you can find the expression for the velocity, that is V2 and V1, and in special cases also you can discuss by yourself. That is very easy thing. And now we need to show that in a perfectly elastic collision, there is always a loss of energy. Show that kinetic energy is lost in this collision. So this is perfectly elastic collision is what? In which the bodies stick together after the collision and move with a constant velocity. So you can see the diagram here. First body M1 moving with speed U1 or U. Second body M2 is at rest. The body comes from behind, strikes the second body, and after collision they stick together and moving with a common velocity V. So the total momentum before collision is what? M1 U1 plus 0. And after collision it will be M1 plus M2 into V. So what will be V from here? V will be M1 plus M2 into U1. This is the common velocity after collision. What is initial kinetic energy? Half M1 U1 square plus half M0 square, that is half M1 U1 square, and this is the final kinetic energy. If we need to show that there is a loss in energy, then we need to show that the initial kinetic energy minus final kinetic energy is a positive term. I repeat myself, if we need to show that there is a loss in energy, then we must must show the initial kinetic energy minus final kinetic energy is a positive term. That is what I am doing here. And after doing all this, what we are getting? We are getting that half m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 u1 square. This is a positive term. Masses can never be negative, and u1, I don't know positive or negative, but the square will also always be positive. So this is completely being a positive term, and if it is being a positive term, then we can say that the collision here, yes, there is a loss in kinetic energy, because initial kinetic energy minus final kinetic energy is being a positive term. So this is what we did, where we have discussed about elastic collision and inelastic collision in one dimension. So now we need to discuss it for two dimensions. Here now we are discussing elastic collision in two dimensions. You can see the figure here. This object was at rest. This object came from behind, it strikes the object. After collision, this moved to this direction with angle theta 1. This moved to this direction with angle theta 2. This will be V1, making angle theta 1, so it will be V1 cos theta 1. It will be V1 sin theta 1. This is V2, so it will be V2 cos theta 2, and this will be V2 sin theta 2. Okay? As shown in figure, suppose a particle of mass m1 moving along with x-axis with velocity u1 collides with another particle of mass m2 at rest. After the collision, let the two particles move with velocities v1 and v2, making theta 1 and theta 2 angle with x-axis. After the collision, the rectangular components of momentum are, this will be m1 v1 cos theta 1 along x-axis, m1 v1 sin theta 1 along y-axis. And here it will be again m2 v2 cos theta 2 along x-axis, m2 v2 sin theta 2 along negative y-axis. So applying the principle of conservation of momentum, total momentum before collision must be equal to total momentum after collision. This we will first apply for horizontal, then for vertical. For horizontal, we know there was a momentum m1 u1 only before collision, because this was at rest. So m1 u1 can be equals to m1 v1 cos theta 1 plus m2 v2 cos theta 2. This is for vertical. So this is equal here, and vertical momentum before collision was 0. So after collision, it will be m1 v1 sin theta 1 minus m2 v2 sin theta 2. Why negative sign there? Because we can see that after collision, both are the vertical motions are in the opposite directions. Okay. After that, we have kinetic energy conservation, that half m1 u1 square equals to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. So these are the case of elastic collision in two dimensions. Now if we talk about glancing collision, in glancing collision what happens? Theta 1 becomes 0 and theta 2 becomes 90 degree. So the kinetic energy, so u1 will become equals to v1. Hence in a glancing collision, the incident particles does not lose any kinetic energy and is scattered almost undeflected. In head-on collision what happens? In head-on collision, theta 2 becomes 0. So kinetic energy again remains unchanged. You can do the elastic collision for two identical particles also, that also you can do. After that we have a topic, coefficient of restitution. Coefficient of restitution is a term which gives a measure of degree of restitution of a collision and is defined as the ratio of the magnitude of relative velocity of separation after collision to the relative velocity of approach before collision. It is given by mod of v1 minus v2 by u1 minus u2. Why mod sign is given there? Because this can be a negative term, but if it is mod, this must be a positive term only. And by finding the value of small e, which is coefficient of restitution, we can understand that which kind of collision is this. If the value of small e is equals to 1, it means relative velocity of separation is equals to relative velocity of approach, then the collision will be perfectly elastic. If the value of small e, that is coefficient of restitution, is more than 0 and less than 1, it means relative velocity of separation is less than relative velocity of approach. This is called inelastic collision. If the value of small e is 0, that means the relative velocity of separation is 0, the two bodies move together with a common velocity, that will be a perfectly inelastic collision. And for if E is greater than 1, the kinetic energy increases. It means it is going for a super elastic collision. Now what is super elastic collision? In such a collision there is always an increase in energy. This occurs if there is a release of potential energy on an impact. For example, you can see that bursting of a cracker, when it hits the floor forcefully, the collision of a trolley with another may release a compressed spring and thereby releasing the energy stored in the spring. So similarly, you can go for the special cases of elastic collision in one dimension also and two dimension also. This is a very, very important topic. So we have covered almost all the topics of the chapter work, energy and power in these two videos. And the next video will comprise of motion of system of particles and rigid body, that is system of particles and rotational motion.